Yo, what is going on, guys? Today I'm going to be bringing you a video of the most bizarre true crime cases that I discovered this week. All of the original videos that I found this information on will be linked in the description. The first case is the case of Joseph Zeiler or Zeiler. Let me know if I'm butchering that name, but this was a really disgusting case. It genuinely made my stomach turn. The victims in this case are Robin Cornell and Lisa Story. This is a recently solved cold case. I do, again, want to give credit to Dreading on YouTube. He puts out great videos on true crime and gives a lot of information and digs deep for it. So the four main people in this case is Robin, Lisa, Jan, which is Robin's mother, and the perpetrator, the murderer. I also need to give you a heads up that there is a child victim in this case. I know for a lot of parents it can be traumatizing hearing true crime stories with children, so if that isn't something you want to hear, I recommend turning off the video now. So this case happens in May 1990. Editor, correct me if I'm wrong. So to sum it up, on this day in 1990, Jan, Lisa, and Robin, they all moved in with each other. Since Lisa was Robin's babysitter, they thought it would just be best to have her in the house for, last minute emergencies, things like that. At this point, it's late. Robin is in bed already, and Jan's boyfriend hit her up asking if she wanted to hang out. She at first said no, but then eventually, after Lisa encouraged her to go, she went. Shortly after, when Lisa and Robin are both asleep, the perpetrator comes in through the back sliding door, proceeds to murder Lisa. This wakes up Robin, and Robin goes to see what's going on, and unfortunately gets battered and then sexually violated. Also, I'm going to keep saying murderer or perpetrator because that asshole does not deserve any recognition. The victims do. After he murders both Robin and Lisa, sexually violates them, he leaves them in disgusting postures. When I heard this, I kind of imagined the Jeffrey Dahmer pictures. After he carries out those vile acts, he leaves evidence everywhere. He leaves DNA everywhere. Mind you, this was the 90s. So, I really don't know why he didn't try to clean up, but he left evidence everywhere. His hair, his semen. He actually left his car keys there too. Anyway, mad years go by, and the murderer's DNA eventually gets put into the prison system because of some gun charge that he got. So when they reopened this case, they were successfully able to match his DNA with what they found at the crime scene. One detail that I accidentally left out is that Jan accidentally fell asleep at her boyfriend's house on his couch. She woke up at 4:30 in the morning, so she went home. She already knew something was off because she couldn't get in through the door, and she actually discovered her daughter and her friend like this, and this caused her really bad trauma throughout the years. Fast forward, the trial comes up, and the murderer is just saying bullshit. I peeped that his voice is very wobbly. I'm not sure if that's how he made it seem in the trial or just how it is. He just seems like he's on the verge of tears the whole time, but he's not remorseful at all. He says a whole bunch of shit and then he redacts it. He said that he was never at Janice or Lisa's house, but then he proceeds to say that he actually had sex with Janice or Lisa, I forget which one, while he was on a beach trip. And then he tries to blame his DNA on that, claiming that Janice was a quote-unquote dirty pig who never washed her sheets. The nerve on this guy is crazy. Imagine murdering somebody's daughter and then in court calling them a dirty pig. The nerve is fucking unbelievable. The second case I actually want to talk about today is the death of Vincent van Gogh. I knew that Van Gogh died really young, but I didn't know that his death was listed suicide. Also, I got this information from the channel Horses. Their video will be linked in the description. And I just wanted to talk about Van Gogh's case because I heard it and I feel like I never really heard the details about it until now. So on the day that he died, he went to a field to go paint, and a couple witnesses see him walking to that field. And then a couple hours go by, and I believe it was an innkeeper saw him hunched over, like moaning kind of, on his way home without any paint supplies. So this innkeeper basically follows him to his room, and he finds out that Van Gogh has a gunshot wound in his stomach. And then when the innkeeper asked him who did this, he said, "I've acted alone." So he is saying that he shot himself, right? Well, in this video, they go and dive deeper into Van Gogh's writing, and he talks about suicide decently, and he talks about if he's ever going to kill himself, it's going to be by drowning himself. There was a giant river, pond, whatever it was, near the inn that he could have perfectly drowned himself in, and he didn't. And if we're being realistic, I feel like when people shoot themselves, like, for suicide, they're not really shooting themselves in the stomach, unless it's, like, an accident. So it really seems like he didn't shoot himself, but then why would he cover for somebody that shot him? Also, it needs to be known that Van Gogh was actually experiencing a lot of hallucinations at the time, so that also could have factored. The last case I want to mention today is the case of Betty Broderick. The info that I got from this case is also from Dreading. To make things very short, when Betty was younger, she wanted to be a traditional housewife. So she met her husband. She wasn't specifically looking for somebody that she genuinely loved, but somebody that was going to take care of her. So fast forward, Betty and her husband, they've been married for very long. He becomes a successful, medical lawyer. She just becomes very abusive. I'm not going to go into detail, but it's like any abusive relationship. They're just going to abuse you for no reason. And her husband would kind of just take it, silently take it, try not to make an outburst for their children. They had 4 kids together, I believe. So Betty's husband made a lot of money, but it was because of all the hard work that he put into his job, and Betty didn't like how much he wasn't home, so she wanted him to get help at work, so he hired a secretary. The secretary was this young girl. Betty did not like that, and this just starts the hell. And I think I should make it clear, when Betty's husband hired that secretary, they were not involved with each other, nowhere near. Eventually, they become involved with each other, and they start an affair, and then they end up together, and then he wants a divorce. This makes Betty go insane. She starts threatening her kids. She starts doing really, really bizarre things, like crashing her car into his house. She was going crazy, though. She was leaving threatening voicemails. She was leaving voicemails just clearly saying she was going to kill him. She was leaving voicemails for her kids saying that they were traitors for going to live with them, even though she dropped them off on Easter Day when he wasn't home, and they were just, like, standing outside of his house until he got there. And her whole personality was hating her ex-husband and her ex-husband's new wife. Eventually, this led to her killing them. She proceeds to say in court that her plan was to go to his house and kill herself in front of him. I think that's bullshit. I think anybody who watches this entire video will also agree that that is bullshit. She was crazy, and that was premeditated murder. She did not get charged with first-degree murder. I believe she got charged with second-degree. You know, if you watch the court videos, she is a phenomenal actress. Like, she genuinely seems like 1% innocent. I've never seen a raging narcissist like Becky. Genuinely. Like, I didn't think it could even get to that level. The whole court trial, she genuinely thinks that she's in no wrong, and she never apologized for killing either of them. There's so many details I left out with that case. It's like a 3-hour video. I highly recommend you go watch that video on Dreading. But that's all I have for you guys today, so I will see you later. See ya.